Alright, how you guys doing today? Today's story is coming from r/creepyencounters, titled, Someone Tried to Break Into My House and Find Me. Coming from user slash zealous-ideal-dog 3022. First things first though, if you like the art, like the video. If you like my voice, like the video. And make sure you leave a comment. I don't care what you say, just say something. This story happened 3 years ago, around the time that COVID started, so it was a while back, but still worthy of a post. It was early 2020, and I had just gotten a new job in a small town near my area. While I was looking for a place to live, my sister offered to rent her home to me. She had bought the house 2 years prior, but she and her husband didn't really take to it, and their commute to work was long, so they moved out, and the house was uninhabited. Luckily for me, it was actually pretty close to my workplace, around a 40-minute drive, and my sister pretty much rented it for free to me. I just paid for the water and the electricity, and looked over the house in general. I was living there for a solid 2 to 3 months and had already gotten used to it. One night after coming back from work and parking my car, as I walked towards my door I noticed something odd. There was a cigarette butt on the curb to my house. I leaned down and picked it up thinking that it might have been mine since I'm a smoker, but after looking at the brand name I realized it wasn't mine, and I just threw it away, thinking that, some a-hole throwing it at my curb, and I went on with my night and nothing unusual happened. 2 days later, I was once again walking to my house when I spotted a few more cigarette butts, this time near my porch. Needless to say, I was pissed off and thought that someone sat on my porch and smoked, but I didn't really know who it was, and there was nothing I could do about it, and I noticed that they were put out pretty recently, so whoever it was probably walked off as I approached. That night I was watching a movie on my laptop, and it was pretty late, past 1 a.m., so I was surprised when I heard a car passing by. It's a suburban neighborhood, and it was COVID, so people rarely ventured out at night, but I didn't think much of it. Around half an hour later, I was surprised when I heard chatting nearby. I listened intently, but I couldn't hear what they were talking about, as their voices seemed almost muffled and quiet. By this point, I was getting a bit unnerved, so I stopped the movie and quietly got off my sofa and walked to the front door to make sure that it was locked. As I was approaching the door, I froze mid-step as I heard the two approaching my porch and reducing their talking to a whisper. I realized right away that whoever this was wanted to break in. I leaned against my front door and waited, expecting a loud bang against the door, or the door not being shaken, but it was oddly quiet. I decided to walk over to my window to see if they'd walked away or changed their mind. My windows have bars from the inside out, so that you have to unlock them so that you can move the curtains or look out the window comfortably. I slowly unlocked the bar mechanism and lifted it up. As I moved the curtains back, I was taken aback. Leaning up against my window was a man. He was as startled as I was because he basically stuttered over his own steps as he jumped back. He tightened his hoodie to cover his face, so all I could really see was his big blue eyes looking at me. His friend realized what was going on and right away started to kick the door in. He kicked it a solid 4 or 5 times, but the door wouldn't budge. All the while, I was staring at them, frozen in fear trying to comprehend the situation. I snapped out of it and slammed the bars over my window, locking them and running up the stairs to the storage room, where I pushed the table up against the door and called the cops. As I listened and expected the two to come inside any minute, I heard a loud crash from the bars at my window being shaken very aggressively. When they realized they couldn't get in, one of them let out a loud angry scream that probably woke up half the neighborhood. And by the time the cops came, they were both long gone. The police couldn't find out who it was, but were more active in the neighborhood in the following weeks. Regardless, I wasn't too keen on staying there, so shortly after I moved out. My sister sold the house a few months later, and as far as I know, nothing similar ever happened. Alright, I hope you guys have yourselves a fantastic day. Peace.